Hey sisters, I just wanted to come on and just talk to you about the July Surfer Girl program. And because we have just launched the app not so long ago, this might be your first time doing a Surfer Girl program. So I just wanted to cover a little bit about it. Also, this month we are covering more longboard focus. And I wanted to share with you all my own personal journey on the longboard in the last year and some of the things that I have found through longboarding, my progression, and why I love it so much. So if this is your first time to the Surfer Girl program, we choose 3 workouts, 1 education, and 1 mindset to give you each week. We are going to be focusing on balance every week over the next 4 weeks. We've got a strength workout to help with obviously your paddle and your pop-ups for your upper body. We have a lower body because your legs play such a massive role when it comes to standing on a surfboard, cross-stepping on a surfboard and doing maneuvers and all that sort of stuff. Plus, we have Coach Denny. She does an amazing yoga session, and that goes for usually 60 minutes, and it's some great breath work in there as well. So I hope you really enjoy the 4 weeks that I have chosen, and I would love to hear how you are going. I'd love everyone to start getting involved in the community to inspire each other and to also, empower other people to do this stuff for themselves too. My journey on the longboard started in May 2025, and I feel like I was kind of backed into a corner and forced into it. I picked up surfing again in 2022 and was like really committed to progress in surfing. And I went from like being on a 7-foot surfboard to a 6'8" to a 6'6" and worked my way down to a 5'8". And by the time I had got to a 5'8", I was starting to do my turns. I was duck diving so I could start catching some of those bigger waves. So even though my friends were longboarding and I loved the look of it, I didn't want to ruin the progress that I'd had on the shortboard, and I wanted to keep continuing on that journey. However, I went on a intermediate surf trip in Lombok in May, and all my friends were longboarders and I was the only shortboarder. The waves were not working for a shortboard, and I remember the first surf session that I did, honestly, I was hardly catching any waves, and it was kind of like everyone else around me were getting waves. So my friend Justy, who had been trying to convince me to do longboarding for a long time, basically convinced me. And I actually had it a part of one of my 2025 goals to try it, not to take it up, but just to try it, because, I think that in surfing that you should learn all kinds of surfboards, and also I wanted to be catching waves and not to get stuck on just shortboarding. I agreed to try it, and I just remember that first day that I did try it, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. Even how I was like sitting on the board, how I put my leg rope on, it just felt like this huge boat. And also like getting out through waves when I had just, easily done it duck diving. I was like, what the fuck have I signed up to? Why did I choose to do this? However, I just had so much fun. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. And like I'd get the waves a little bit, I'd eat shit, but I just had so much fun. And I think it was the first time in a long time where I had felt so much joy and laughter and just didn't take it so seriously. So I decided that I was going to stick it out for the week because the waves were quite small. And I was watching my friends and how they were surfing. I was trying to get tips. Again, I had no idea what I was doing with intermediate longboarders. And I think I was on a 9.2 or a 9.4 that first time. So going from a 5.8 to a 9.4 is very different. And yeah, I basically was like, all right, if I'm going to learn this thing, I'm just going to basically copy what they're doing. So they would do, cross stepping. They were trying to get to the nose, how they were doing stuff. And I was like, all right, next time I'm going to try and do that. I had no idea like what cross stepping was, the purpose of it. I didn't have any idea about hang tens or nose, hang tens or hang fives. I had just seen it, and like I said, I loved the dance of it. But then some of the things were just working out for me, and I had no idea what I was doing and why I was doing it, but I was not afraid to try things. And I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons I have progressed so much over the last year when it comes to the longboard, is because I have not been afraid to do something. And I think the other reason I have progressed as well is because by the time I had got to the longboard, I'd had my fair share of wipeouts. I became, intermediate in the ocean. I was really confident in understanding where to be on a lineup. And so I guess put all that in together and not being afraid to try things, it kind of progressed me quite quickly. And my playground in, the tropics, like Indonesia, Sri Lanka, the Philippines, is pretty amazing. So I have been on a shortboard, I reckon twice in the last year. And it's because I have really been converted. I love it. I do miss my shortboard days, and I kind of was always saying, I don't want to get stuck on one board or the other. However, on my own surfing journey at the moment, I'm just absolutely loving the longboard and, wanting to do steps and wanting to do tricks and, understanding the wave. And I feel so free. I think that's probably the coolest part about it, is that I feel like I'm really in my body, and I have just found a style, even if it looks like I'm a bit of a freestyle break dancer, but I own it and it's mine, and I'm having fun, and I'm still challenging myself. I still love catching my big waves on the longboard, actually. So I love a good wall where I can do something and almost ride it like a shortboard. And one thing that, you see a lot of the longboarders, they're so elegant and so graceful, whereas I feel like my style is a little bit edgy, and I am still trying to bring a little bit of that elegance into it, but I still have my shortboard style. So yeah, I mean, if you are on your longboarding journey, I'd say my biggest advice to you is to really force yourself to do something and to not be scared, and just to try and bring so much fun and playfulness into your surf sessions, because if you can do that, you're going to lead with fun and joy rather than fear. And then things just start to connect so much more. Obviously, surf coaching plays a huge role in it when you're in good waves. And I think that's the thing too, is that becoming ocean confident, if you can start watching certain waves, if you can start understanding when you should cross step, the role of cross stepping, the hang tens and fives. Once you can understand that too, you can understand that you're not always supposed to cross step, and that it is really about choosing your waves when you are doing stuff too. So, and not all conditions are made for cross stepping, hanging five, or doing tricks. Sometimes they just need to be ridden like a surfboard, So yeah, I've learnt heaps. Like I said, I've had my absolute fair share of wipeouts on the longboard. I still absolutely have so many wipeouts. I am the loudest cackler when I am falling off it or when I do something silly. But if I also, nail something that I've been working towards, I also am cheering myself, and I get so excited about that. So I think that's what it brings. But a funny story that I wanted to tell you all when it comes to terminology is that there's a section in the wave, and it's called the high point, and that's where you really are, getting to your fives and your tens. And basically my longboard coach, Jarek, in Indonesia, he was screaming at me to get higher. Now, this is before I'd understood like the sections of the waves for longboarding and fives and tens. And he was screaming at me, just like, get higher and higher. So I literally was standing completely on my tippy toes and like hands up as high as I could go, like thinking he's telling me I needed to like stand higher. But it wasn't that. He was trying to tell me that I needed to, you know, get to the high line of the wave. And when he, like I was saying to him, what do you mean? And then he told me, oh, I just couldn't believe, like that's what I had thought about it. So, you know what, like there's so many different terminologies that you're going to hear surfers say, and it's okay not to know it, and just, you know, don't take it so seriously. Have a laugh at yourself, and again, like just come from a place of fun and playfulness, and that's probably my biggest tips. And yeah, you'll learn so much quicker. I'm just over a year now. I just entered my first longboarding competition. Wasn't like a pro or anything, but I'm really proud of myself for just entering in it and the progress that I've had. And I would say that my confidence and that surfing hasn't just given me, you know, progression in skills. It's given me progression in my own confidence and clarity, and it's kept me, really healthy mentally and physically, spiritually, and the community of women that I've met through it. So this is just my journey. I hope you enjoy the next 4 weeks, and I would love to hear, you know, your wins. You know, if you've heard someone in your head when you're surfing saying, do something, like if you're visualizing your coach or me or someone just telling you to do it, I want to hear these wins. If you are getting stuck, you know, please reach out, put it in the community forum. Let's start this conversation, because like I said, it's a really cool thing. And if we can help each other, then we're going to progress a lot quicker. Enjoy July.